And welcome to this tutorial. I'm here, and today I am going to share you some of the basic information about cloud computing. So first thing we have is on-premises infra. So what is a on-premises infrastructure? Before cloud computing introduced, there was a traditional infrastructure called on-premises. In the on-premises, everything was set up inside the data center at physical location, which includes physical servers, network devices like routers, switches, LAN cable, firewall, storage devices, and backup devices. I'd like to show you through a diagram what a physical location of on-premises looks like. So here on the right hand side we have users who are accessing this on-premises data center, and on the left hand side we have storage device, file servers, backup device. There are devices on the left hand side, and these devices are connected through routers and cables. And in the on-premises, if we want any improvement in our data center, so we had to invest on it. So if suppose if I had to increase the storage capacity of my data center, so I had to buy a storage devices and connect it on a data center. There are some disadvantages of a on-premises, such as we need a physical location to set up a data center. That means we need to buy a area or a land to set up a physical location, set up on a physical location our data center we need to set up there. And second, we have that we need to invest huge amount of money on a physical hardwares like switches, routers, and storage devices, backup devices, and we need 24/7 electricity to run this data center consistently. And for electricity backup, we need to invest on generators, and we have a we have attached so many hardware devices like network devices, firewall, storage. These devices are going to be expire after some time. So when they expire, we need to buy a new one and replace with them. And sixth, we had to hire IT engineers to manage and operate physical servers. So these are the now let's talk about cloud. In the cloud infra or a cloud computing, everything is on cloud. We don't need any physical server, firewall or backup devices, network devices, etc. These all things are available on the cloud. We just need to virtually access it. It's on a cloud. It doesn't mean it's literally on a cloud. We are just virtually accessing these services through our laptop. And these servers, firewall and backup, these are on a physical location of a cloud provider. We are just virtually accessing it. So what is a cloud computing? So cloud computing is a on demand availability and delivery of on demand computing services, from application to storage and processing power, typically over the internet and pay as you go. This means that we can create any resource anytime, and we can delete it anytime. So if I give you an example that we can create a virtual machine literally in a two to 3 minutes, and we can delete it if we want to delete it anytime, we can delete it. So that now let's talk about a type. So there are basically three types of cloud. So first is a public cloud. So public cloud are owned by third-party cloud providers which deliver their computing resources such as server and storage over the internet. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and GCP, which is a Google Cloud platform, are basically a example of a public cloud. You can manage your account over the internet. So we are accessing their services virtually on our laptop through the over the internet. Let me show you through a diagram what a public cloud looks like. So here we have a user who are accessing these cloud services, virtual machine, web app, backup, and storage over the internet. So user can uh, access these cloud services over the internet without any physical data center. And second, we have a private cloud. So private cloud basically refers to a cloud computing owned by resources used by a single organization. It can be located physically at companies on-site data center. So we have previously discussed about it. It means a on-premise data center. And third, we have a hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud, a combined public and private cloud bound together by technology that allows data and application to be shared in between them. So hybrid cloud is basically a combination of private cloud and a public cloud. User can use some of the services of public cloud and some of the services of private cloud. Well, let me show you through a diagram. So here we have our user. So user, you can use a physical server Active Directory to authenticate user into public cloud, and user can use a virtual network or storage capacity of public cloud for on-premises data center. So let's talk about cloud model. There are three cloud models. First we have is infrastructure as a service, as with infrastructure as a service you rent IT infrastructure like server and virtual machine, storage, network, operating systems from a cloud provider on a pay as you go. Second, we have a platform as a service. It refers to a cloud computing services that supply on-demand environment for developing, testing, and delivering and managing software application like web application. We can also call it a serverless computing. And third, we have a software as a service, which is SaaS. Software as a service is a method for delivering software application over the internet on demand and typically on a subscription basis. For example, we have Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, OneDrive, etc. So on the on-premises, we had to manage a application, data, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, servers, pretty much everything we had to manage on premises. And in on infrastructure as a service, we have to only manage application, data, runtime, middleware, and operating system. And virtualization, server, storage, and networking are managed by cloud provider or a vendor. And in on platform as a service, we only have to manage a applications and data, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, servers, storage, and networking. These all are managed by a cloud provider or a vendor. And software as a service, we don't have to manage anything. we service provider will manage everything for us, such as application, data, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, server, storage, and networking. Everything is managed by a cloud provider. Now let's talk about how we can access cloud services. So I am on a browser and we have to type Amazon Web Services for Amazon Cloud Services, and we can access it from here. Click on the first link and we can create a AWS account and start using their services. There are documentation and pricing. You can check a pricing from here, and solutions, products, and AWS marketplace. And these are the all things you can see, or you can start using their services by creating a AWS account. Second, we have a Google Cloud platform. So we have to type Google Cloud on search bar and we can access from Google Cloud platform. So here we have to create a account. So I have already created account. Here it's showing that it's asking for choose me to country, so we will do it later. And third, we have a Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft, to access Microsoft Azure services, we have to type portal.azure.com. So you have to log in it from here. I have already logged in. So this is what a user interface of a Microsoft Azure. Here we can create a resource and we can see all resources from this all resources icon, and in search bar we can type anything we want to create a resource in a Microsoft Azure. So for example, if I want a firewall, so I can go from here and click on create, and after entering some basic information I can create a firewall. If I want to create a virtual machine, so I can create it from here. So now let's talk about a resource group. Is a resource group? A resource group is a logical container where you are creating your Azure resources. I'm talking about resource group in Azure. So it's a logical container where we are creating our Azure resources that holds all our Azure resources. So resource group is basically like a folder, but it contains a resources in it. So what kind of resources it contains? So resources like everything we create, it's in Azure, like virtual machine, Azure storage, Azure SQL. We, for multiple purposes, we create these resources, and these resources are in a logical container called a resource group. So how we can create a resource group? So first we have to go to a login into Azure portal and go to create a resource group. Now we have to name a resource group like RG1 and select a region for it. You can select any region and review plus create and hit click on create. Now my resource group is created. Now go to resource group. It's empty because we just created a resource group. We have to create resources under it. So we can create a virtual machine from here, and every any resource we want to create